Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and today on the podcast, we are carrying on from our previous episode about the frost that happened in Brazil in July 2021, and we're going to have a little exploration on how that may affect the industry as a whole. If you are enjoying this content, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and to like this video and think about sharing it with your friends. If you are listening to it through podcast listening apps, please subscribe and rate and review. So before we get started, if you are thinking of becoming a consultant in the coffee industry, we have a 6-week course that's starting, or a mastermind group that's starting in the middle of August. Head to mapperforward.org/group coaching and check out our offerings there. It's $29.99 for 6 weeks. The groups are very small, maximum 6 people. And we guarantee the results by the end of the 6 weeks. You will know how to land your first customer by the end of the first 6 weeks. So this frost that we were talking about in Brazil, how is this going to affect our industry? And is it a big deal? So we finished off by talking about what frost was in the last episode. What frost was when it hit Brazil. It hit 3 times. And each time it seemed to get incrementally colder. And this level of frost once in a month in Brazil had only been experienced 4 other times in history. To get frost 3 times and this bad has never happened. From all the accounts that I spoke to and all the articles that I've read, that's not happened before. And it didn't just hit coffee crops. We shared a video on the mailing list of a tomato farmer whose crop had been completely devastated. And you could see icicles coming off every plant, off the fences, off the railings, everywhere on the farm, there was just icicles. And during that 3rd event of frost in Brazil, what they also noted was that there were 80 cities in the south that had received snow. So this was a really devastating series of 3 events of frost in Brazil in July. Now, at face value, you might think, but that's okay because as we said, the cherries were on the trees and they'll still be able to pick them. Here's the thing. As the frost got incrementally colder and hit repeatedly, it affected plants at all different ages. Now, why that's relevant is because farms are usually constantly rejuvenating. So they'll have seedlings and then they'll have saplings and then they'll have trees that are of different age of maturity. And the younger the tree is, the more vulnerable it is to things like frost because the immune system hasn't quite bedded in the plant. But because they had so many incidences of the frost and because it got incrementally colder, every time the tree gets hit, it gets hit harder. And that caused plants to die, and it caused some farms to get hit en masse with plants that were dying. The issue with that is that a tree requires some time to go from seedling all the way through to mature fruiting plant. And that time is on average about 3 years. Now, if Brazil, being the largest coffee producing country on the planet, is being hit hard by frost right now in 2021, and the result is that many trees died, it means that the next harvest and the harvest after that will most likely be affected in yield. And what that means is how many bags they're able to produce from their harvests in a given year. So if the yield is going to be affected because there aren't any trees, and we don't know what's going to happen with this drought is not done yet. That may continue to be a cofactor to what's happened with the frost, and that's assuming that they don't have frost next year. From the people that I've spoken to, the Brazilian farmers that I've spoken to, as well as the importers, they say that the Brazilian producers are incredibly resilient and incredibly optimistic by nature of the work that they do and the lives that they've lived. This is something that they will just have to recover from. But they need our help. They need our help by all of us buying the coffees that they have available and paying a fair price for it. The C market reacted to news of frost, and you'll notice that if you are keeping track of the C market, in July, the second hit of frost, not the second version of frost, but the second time that frost hit, the market started to react and boomed, and it went up to 217. A week later, it dropped to 175. Now, this is an issue for producers because that scope of over 30 cents of a gap, of a variance, really makes things volatile for producers, and they're unable to bank on being able to sell their crops at a stable price. And this is an ongoing problem for producers. So we have to do better. On the consuming end of the industry, we have to do better. We've got to find a way to support these producers through this. And sure, the government over there has pledged $1 billion to help producers. That news was released today. But this is a multi-billion-dollar industry out of Brazil, and many producers have been devastated by this. So on the consuming end, we need to be there to help them and make sure that we pay a fair price for the coffee that we're purchasing. We're not doing this race to the bottom business, but also in the next episode, we're going to talk about how you need to adapt your business and take advantage of this time so that you can help producers as well as yourself. This is a pivotal moment in the history of our industry. The top 3 coffee producing countries, Brazil, Vietnam, and Colombia, are experiencing major issues right now with regards to supply. Brazil is the frost and the drought. Vietnam is undergoing a savage attack of COVID right now that it's affecting across the country. And Colombia is experiencing political issues that are preventing them from being able to release coffee, as well as the logistical issues that are happening all over the world with shipping and containers and inflation issues and input issues for producers. It's a really rough time for producers across the board right now. On the consuming end, we have our role to play if we're going to survive, and we will address that in the next issue of the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward. I hope you'll join us. And if you did like this, if you are enjoying the content and you did like the content that's in this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe and rate, review, and do all that delicious stuff that helps the content keep spreading. We are here to get you the information that you need every day of the week, every week of the year. So on that note, peace and peanut butter friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.